The history and future of mankind on earth and what must be done. On May 31st, 2022, the earth is experiencing perilous times. In Russia, or involving Russia, Russia attacked Ukraine without provocation on February 24th, 2022, and is waging a satanic war of aggression and genocide against its inhabitants. It threatens and attempts to extort Ukraine, NATO, and the world with its nuclear weapons. It foments and threatens world hunger with its war on Ukraine, blocking Ukraine ports on the Black Sea and elsewhere from shipping and receiving products. It has a lying, thieving, cheating, stealing, dishonest, and satanic government headed by Vladimir Putin. The USA. About the USA. The USA is suffering from inflation caused by COVID worldwide, supply shortages, shipping and logistics problems, the war on Ukraine, and price gouging. Gun violence caused by assault weapons availability and the abundance of guns, over 400 million. Unemployment, discrimination, ignorance, and Satanism. Solution: tell and teach the truth. A dysfunctional and corrupt USA GOP Senate. Solution: amend it or get rid of it. A corrupt, ignorant, and satanic Supreme Court of the United States. Solution: amend it or get rid of it. Voter suppression by the GOP in most of the country. Martial law is needed. Institutions that are unjust and don't work, including the Electoral College and the U.S. Senate. Solution: amend and or get rid of them. Voter fraud spearheaded by an insane, ignorant, corrupt, and demonic individual named Donald Trump. Martial law is needed. Ongoing insurrection revived from 1861, yes, I mean 1861, and brought about partly by the election of Barack Obama, who is the reincarnation of Abraham Lincoln. Hypocrisy by those who do not give Joe Biden credit for saving the world and the USA after Donald Trump destroyed the DOJ, parts of the FBI, the State Department, the executive branch of government, respectful social norms, parts of the military, NATO, the GOP, and state and local governments. The USA broke its covenant with God, and God withdrew some prior protections, beginning with the Second Coming in 1998. USA inhabitants break God's laws going and coming, and many of them do things prohibited and don't realize that you reap what you sow. Churches. The Catholic Church, Protestant churches, and Islam do not accurately teach what is in the scriptures or taught by the prophets regarding life, death, and reincarnation. Matthew 16:14, 17:11 through 13, 22:31 through 32, Surah Ayat 39:42 to 28, etc. That each soul is sovereign over their own body. That human life begins when the individual takes the first breath of life and becomes a living soul. Genesis 2:7. That insane, ignorant, satanic, compulsive liars like Donald Trump must be banned and prohibited from participation in society and prosecuted for their crimes. That Donald Trump's followers and supporters are devil worshippers, and they must be sanctioned and penalized by society. that God is the first reality, and He is one. God is one, with mind, sometimes called Christ or the Word, and Holy Spirit, or Spirit, Soul, Son, S-U-N, as viewed from a three-dimensional world. And man is made in the image of God, man or woman, with body, mind, and soul, or spirit. So man or woman take on a body like one puts on clothes. We are like our Creator, spiritual beings living in material flesh bodies on earth. See above. The United Nations. The UN Security Council is unjust, unfair, racist, and discriminatory. The UN allowed and recognized the State of Israel, violating all norms and its own professed values. The UN has been powerless to rein in the USA and others in many instances. Russia is a rogue, satanic monstrosity and permanent member of the UN Security Council. Let's start from the beginning with man's existence on earth. According to Edgar Cayce, the first root race of human beings existed as spiritual or ethereal in 12 million BC. In about 10 million BC, the second root race existed in Lemuria with male and female in the same body. In 200,000 BC, the Atlantean or red race existed in Atlantis. In about 106,000 BC, Emilius or Adam incarnated as one of the sons of God. In about 60,000 BC, the fourth root race incarnated. 2, 3. 1. The brown in South America, or the Andean. 2. The black in Africa's Sudan. 3. The white in the Carpathians, or Caucasus. 4. The yellow in the Gobi, or in China. The red in Atlantis, or Northeast America. In 1943 and afterwards, the fifth root race began incarnations with new bodies and a change in consciousness. Atlantis experienced 3 destructions. In 5722 BC, when there was an effort to annihilate large animals, there was a volcanic upheaval or pole shift. 5 nations met: Atlantis, China, from the Gobi, also from India, Egypt, and South America. Ice, nature, and God changed the poles, and the large animals were destroyed. The second destruction, from 28,000 BC through 22,000 BC, the firestone was tuned too high. The white stone was tuned incorrectly. The refugees of Atlantis migrated to Arizona and Utah. The Atlanteans had airplanes, submarines, elevators, electricity, advanced metallurgy, photography, infrared, laser surgery, chariots run by gas, and hot air balloons. The Firestone was a power station. Gas-run transportation existed. In 10,000 BC, there was a final destruction. Iridium was involved, and this was the time of the flood. Let's jump to a history of Western empires, beginning with Egypt. Egypt existed from 3100 BC to 676 BC. Assyria existed from 676 BC to 612 BC. Babylonia existed from 612 BC to 539 BC. Persia existed from 539 BC to 331 BC. Greece existed from 331 BC to 168 BC. Rome existed from 168 BC to 476 AD. The Seventh Empire of the USA, UK, Canada, and Australia existed from 1946 to about 1991 AD, of course. The Eighth Empire is the Seventh Empire plus NATO and the European Union, and it existed from 1991 to the present. Number 9, God's kingdom on earth will exist after the Eighth World Empire. In conclusion, here is the truth from the book of Daniel concerning the state of Israel. There is no legitimate basis for the existence of the state of Israel. Should Israel exist? Daniel 9:24 through 27 says, 70 weeks or 490 years beginning in 457 BC are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city, to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and seal up the vision and the prophecy, and to anoint the most holy, Jesus the Messiah. That from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem in 457 BC, unto Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks, that is 69 weeks or 483 years, unto the year 27 AD. The streets shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times, and after 7 weeks and 62 weeks, 69 weeks or 483 years plus 3.5 years, shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, that is 7 years from 27 AD through 34 AD. And in the midst of the week, or in mid 30 AD, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and from the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate. When the apostate Jews killed the apostle Stephen in 34 AD, Acts 7:57 through 59, the covenant with ancient Israel ended. Know the truth, and the truth will set you free, for the greatest problem in the world today is ignorance, and the actions and inactions of the ignorant, the dispossessed, and the desperate. Here is knowledge. Thomas Jefferson is the reincarnation of Jacob, aka Israel, and Caliph Umar. Prophet Muhammad is the reincarnation of Moses. Barack Obama is the reincarnation of Abraham Lincoln. I have considered what would Jesus do and what would Prophet Muhammad do. I have given some solutions above, which you have seen. So now you have truth, you have knowledge and information. You know what you must do, that is, follow the right path, that is, follow God, or called Christ in Christianity, and follow Allah, which is really the same thing. So, what about the future? Daniel describes Nebuchadnezzar's dream beginning in Daniel 2:32 about the world empires, beginning with Babylonia. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and broke them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and gold broken to pieces altogether, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. The future will be what you and I and the Creator make it, and it will be God's kingdom on earth.